assumptions or thinking about the philosophy behind what you're doing. Sometimes it's just being busy like a mechanic with nuts and bolts and doing the stuff. And there's still a lot that we can learn about actually doing the stuff. So I'll let Paul tell us about actually doing some more life.
Yeah, so I guess I am much more of a nuts and bolts kind of guy, but I'm going to be talking about alternations. And I am both a conlanger and a theoretical linguist and a teacher of linguistics. And so I'm interested how all these different things interact, and I think you'll get a bit of each here. But certainly in my life, I've been interested in theoretical linguistics because it has helped me considerably sort of reverse engineer a conlang. What do you do when you invent? Well, it looks like linguistics can help us out, and that has been sort of a guiding principle of mine for many years now. So this talk is an exploration in the domain of phonology and its interaction with morphology. And I will be looking, as I said, at this empirical phenomenon known as alterations and considering both classical and stratal approaches to understanding it. So you might be wondering, what's an alternation? I'm not familiar with this term. Well, it is just variation in the form of a subpart of a word in different contexts. And you can consider this both in terms of phonemes or in terms of morphemes, and probably in many cases they're more or less equivalent. A simple example that is used in intro textbooks, and even I discovered Wikipedia, is the regular English plural suffix. So there are three ways in which this can be pronounced, s, z, and z, but it's not random where you get each of these. So you get s before non-sibilant voiceless consonants, such as in cats or Canucks. You get z before non-sibilant voice sounds, as in conlangs and badgers, and you get is before sibilant sounds, such as in cases and leashes and judges. And these variants together make up an alternation. So this particular example that I just gave involves a suffix, but as a general phenomenon, this can occur with either bases or affixes, and in fact, English has instances where the base alternates. An example of this would be elf and elves. So notice elf ends in the voiceless, but the plural, in addition to the z, also features the voice. It does seem that morphology is key, at least to spying alternations, if not analyzing them, and this is because once you add some additional morphological material, the environment changes, both in terms of sounds and in word structure, and this allows extra forms, if they exist, to appear. And without any morphological extra material, the forms are static. And a static statement about where a sound or other things are occurring in an environment is in fact just a phonotactic generalization, and it's not an alternation. But I will mention that I like phonotactic generalizations, and wish I could see them more, not only in conlangs, but also in actual published grammars of natlangs too. They aren't always present. It's like, give me them. So there's a classic division of alternations, which I found in preparing this talk, goes back to work from the 19th century, that divides them into two. So there is what I'll call the phonologically conditioned alternation. It's also sometimes known as an automatic alternation because these are said to occur automatically. But these are determined entirely by phonetic or phonological environment, so they're entirely sort of sound-based. The other kind is the morphologically conditioned alternation, which is sometimes called the morphophonological alternation. If you want a large word that scares people, you do morphophonological. And this kind of alternation is determined at least in part by morphological environments, but these can have sound aspects as well. So to talk a little bit these two types in depth, I want to go through some examples and diagnostics. And so for phonologically conditioned alternations, we'll talk about what's known as English flapping. And this is the alternation that occurs in English between right with a good voiceless T at the end and writer, where you get that quick sort of D-like sound that is in fact a tap in the middle of the word. So phonologically conditioned alternations are supposed to be very general and occur everywhere where they can. And in fact, at least some can occur across words. And lo and behold, if you have an appropriate environment in English, what could be a T could also be a tap, even across words, though this does seem to be restricted to certain kind of registers. So notice you could say write a novel, like I did, and notice it's not a T, it's not a glottalized T, it's not a glottal stop. It's in fact a tap. Another diagnostic for the phonologically conditioned alternation is that the sound sequences that the alternation creates are found in morphologically simplex words. So writer, in fact, has this pattern of stressed vowel tap syllabic R, and in fact, so do a bunch of simplex words. One of them would be litter, like cat litter, for instance. And this also strongly suggests that the T to tap alternation is not restricted to any particular morphological environments in English, which is also characteristic of the phonologically conditioned alternation. Last diagnostic that I'll mention here, if the sounds involved in the alternation are non-contrastive, then surely you have a phonologically conditioned alternation. And in fact, in English, T and tap are non-contrastive, so that means you can't find two distinct words in English that differ just in whether they have a T or a tap. The morphologically conditioned alternations, again, I'll go through some diagnostics, and I'll go through an example from English, what has often been called velar softening. This occurs between the words electric, notice ending in the K, versus electricity, where there's no K to be found anywhere near the end of that word, and instead you get an S. So morphologically conditioned alternations are limited in application. They only occur with certain affixes or certain bases, and thus they only occur in some morphologically complex words. And in fact, velar softening only occurs with a certain collection of affixes, ity, ism, ist. There's some others too. What's kind of striking is it doesn't occur with the phonetically similar ish. So notice we say it weak, weakish. We don't say weak, weeshish, which is goofy as all get out. One of the other interesting things that you find with velar softening and other morphologically conditioned alternations is, in fact, bases ending in the same sound can show differing behavior with respect to the alternation. You have anarchy and anarchist, assuming that there is some base in there. You have it ending in a K in anarchy, and it still ends in a K in anarchist. But in physics and physicists, physics, there is a K in there. Physicists, there's no K to be found. So physicists shows the alternation, but anarchy does not. Sort of an instance of anarchy itself. Morphologically conditional can involve phonologically distant sounds, and you'll note that can has precisely the same place or manner features, so there may be closer than maybe two range that are very different. And then logically conditions, conditional alternations have a sound sequence behavior, so the sound sequence are which is actually a technical term. Some parts of the theoretical world, but that's without the alternation will be allowed. And so with if we just sort of itch onto electric, you get a sequence vowel K, and in fact, this is a possible sequence in English. You get it in words like a kid and bucket. And so it looks like well, these sound or this sort of change in sound is not going to make sort of the sound sequences that English likes, sort of egregious in this regard. So, talking next year I